At the end of the video, we're going to have a functional basic attack state that also depends of the weapon that we are equipping at the moment. So let's begin. Alright guys, so we have the weapons, we have the moveset. Now it's time to start building the attack state foundation. And for that I would like to have a custom clip transition, and let's call that one attack transition. So let's go to the script folder, and here in the characters folder let's create a new script. And let's call this guy attack transition. Let's wait for Unity to compile and open the script in your code editor of choice. So I have here the script. I will add a using statement for system namespace, as well as using AnimationSet. And this class I will remove the seal and change it for partial, so we can then add more functionality to this class from external files. This is going to be a serializable class, and instead of inheriting from mono behavior we want to inherit from clip transition. And if you remember our logic to switch or change the animation set based on the scriptable object, the moveset that we have built for each weapon, we need to also add functionality to copy this transition from the transition that we are going to pass through these movesets. So for that, let's use the iCopyable from AnimationSet namespace, and this is going to be attack transition. And of course we need to implement the interface. So let's remove the not implemented, and here in the copy from I will go and call the base copy from, and I want to cast the copy from we are passing here, because this is attack transition, to a clip transition. So we need to cast it. Clip transition, and what we want to cast is the copy from, in this case copy from, and close the brackets. Okay. Besides the copy from, I want also to implement the apply override for the clip transition. Just we are going to use it later on, so let's do an override apply, and we can leave it as it is. So save the changes, and let's go back to Unity. Okay, so now we want to make our animation set be aware of this attack transition. So let's open the animation set, and here we need to go to the bottom of the file, and in here let's add a new header. So let's call this one Combat Animation Set, for example. And let's add a new serializable field, or serialized field. This is going to be a private attack transition, and let's call this one quick attack or like attack. This is going to be for the right bumper of the controller and the left mouse click. So let's do attack transition quick attack, and then of course let's add a public getter for this transition quick attack, and we'll return the quick attack. There we go. Once again, let's go back to Unity, let it compile. And now that we have the animation subscribing this animation set, or the variable, if we were to open our animation movesets that we store in the data folder, let's start by the on-arm. Let me collapse the strafe animations here. Now we have the combat animation set with the quick attack. So let's assign our animation. I already imported a couple of animations for this purpose. So we have in the on-arm section combat, on-arm quick attack. I will put this guy here. I will do the same for the short axe moveset. And actually, let me slow down a little bit. So let's go back to the on-arm animation set, and let's open up the clip itself and make sure that we click the start time and end time. And for the we can leave everything as it is, and we have this nice preview from the AnimationSet editor, so we can check it out here if we click on that one. And this is the animation we are using right now. Poof. That goes back to the idle. Okay, so let's close the preview, and now that we have set the start time and end time checked, now we can go to the short axe. We have the quick attack already selected. That's nice. So I will select any of the previous clips just to move quickly to the correct folder, and then of course we need to go to the combat section in this case, and let's select in this case the short attack root motion 2. Once again, check the start time, end time. You can preview it if you like, and I will now switch to the long axe or large axe and do the same thing. So combat long, and here I will select the long attack root motion 0. Once again, make sure to check the start time and the end time. Save the changes and let's continue. Now let's create our attack state. So let's go back to our script folder, behaviors, character states, and let's create here a brand new state, and let's call this one attack state. Let Unity compile. So similar to the other state, we need to add our using statement for Rusted Games data folder or data namespace, and in here we need to add a serialize field to store the attack transition, and let's call this one current animation. Then we need to store the current animation set, animation set, and let's call this one local current animation set like before, and we have a getter here, and it's going to check for the character current animation set. Local animation set, current animation set. Why is complaining? Yeah, forgot to, we need to change this guy to characters state. My bad. There we go. Okay, so the next thing is to determine when we can enter this state. So we can enter when we are grounded, right? So let's do an override. Can enter state, and we need to check in this case whether our character movement component is grounded. And we don't have this variable yet, we need to create it. So let's add is grounded, and Visual Studio will suggest if we want to create this variable for us, but let's do it manually. So let's select the character movement component here, F12, to go to the definition, and then again F12, and now we are under our character movement component. So let's collapse the movement direction property here, and after that let's add a header, why not, and let's call this one player grounded, and let's add a serializable field, and let's call this one private bool grounded, and then our public property we need to get is grounded. It will return the grounded, like so. Of course we need to set this somewhere in our script, so let's scroll down, and if we remember from last video, we set here in the footstepper set grounded, and we were checking the is grounded from the character controller. So what we can do here in this section, actually we could move to the handle movement, but let's keep it simple for now, and let's do a grounded is going to be equals to the character controller is grounded, and then we pass to the footstepper the grounded variable that we set before. There we go. Just to keep the footstepper functioning, working properly. We all know that the is grounded from the character controller is really crappy, so we are going to improve that later on, but just let's move on to keep this easy. So now we have the is grounded. This is the way we are can enter this state. So the next step will be to in the awake of the script, we register for the weapon on weapon changed, like before. Press tab, and let's call this function update AnimationSet. Let's remove this not implemented exception. When we destroy on destroy, we want to unregister for this from this event. Down here, let's create our private void change AnimationSet, just to keep the same logic in our all the states. And here we do a current animation, copy from, and we pass in this case the character current animation set, and we have the quick attack. There we go. When this animation ends, so current animation event on end, we set it to on animation ended. We need to create this method. So on animation end, what we do is here is go to our character state machine, and we try to set or transition to the default state, like so. We can add this right away in the on end, but let's keep everything separated as we should. And now we have this method here. We can call it from the update animation set. Next, when this mono behavior is enabled, so let's add it after the awake. On enable, we want to check if the current local current animation set is not equal to the current animation set in the character itself. So let's do an if. Is not equal to the character current animation set, then we need to force an update of the animation, right? So let's click this function here, and after that we can play the current animation that we have here. So let's do a character animancer component dot play, and let's play our current animation. There we go. Finally, I want to add a condition for exiting, or how can we exit this state. So let's do here a public override can exit state, and the condition is going to be that we actually are at the end of the animation. The reason being is that we don't want to be able to execute an attack while we are in the flying in the air, for example, or falling from a building or something like that. Yet again, I would like to force this state or this state to be interrupted when we receive a heavy attack from the enemies, or if we want to do some more advanced combo settings later on, like when running and attacking, backstepping and attacking at the same time. So we can do this type of things. So here in the can exit state, what we need to check is our current animation and the state that this animation is going to throw or create. Its normalized time. This is something that is building upon the animation itself, is greater or equal to our current animation state events normalized end time. So this was the reason why we needed to check the end time in our clips to get this information. So now we are saying that if we are actually or the normalized time that is building upon the when this animation is being played is greater or equal to the normalized end time that we set in the clips, now we are able, or we are allowed to exit this state. So now that we have our attack state, we need to add it to the player, of course. So let's do that. Let's select our prefab from the hierarchy here and click on Open Prefab. Then let's select our states game object. Let me collapse all these guys. And let's add our attack state into it. Okay, the character, we need to select the character from the root game object and assign it like so, and we can leave the current animation as empty. No worries about it. So let's save the prefab, and now it's time to work with ORK Framework. Okay, so before opening the ORK Framework editor, let's revisit our data folder, and we have our game input maps from the new input system. So we had in the actions settings, we created this attack action, which is already listening to the right shoulder and the left mouse button click. So let's close it up. And now let's open up Machinome editor. So the logic will be here in the base control, we create our input key to listen for the attack input. Then in our control maps, we are going to also add the input key to trigger the attack itself. And of course we need to build an attack ability and assign that attack ability to our combatant, our player here. Okay, so let's start in the base control. Let's click in input keys. Let's add a new input key, and here in the content information, click on edit, and let's rename this to quick attack. Click OK, scroll down, and I will remove the infixed update, and then in the input origin I will select the input action, Unity input action, and in here I will, in the input action slot, I will click to find it and select the actions attack. This is in the input handle, of course, it's going to be triggered when we press the key or the mouse button, and I will set a timeout in this case to 0.5 seconds. Let's save the changes. And now that we have our input key, we can go to the control maps, select the player control maps, scroll down, and let's add a new control key that will be copy at the bottom of all of our control keys. There we have control key 3, attack, which is set by default in the action type, which is okay. So this control map input key will be the new created, the quick attack. Let's scroll down. We can leave the type to action and the action type to attack, not ability but attack. We can leave the use current attack and use group target, everything as default. But we need to uncheck during target selection. And also I would like to move this control key to the top. Remember that all these keys are going to be executed from top to bottom. So I want to give some sort of priority to the attack key. So let's move up several times, move up, move up. Don't pay attention for the error messages here. And now we have it at the top. Control key 0 will be attack. Save again the changes, and let's proceed to the next section. Before leaving the base control though, let's click on sound types, and let's add 3 sound types. So the first one is going to be damage, like so. Let's add a new one. This is going to be attack sound type, and the last one is going to be death sound type. Once again, now we need to create our ability, but before creating the ability, let's click on templates. And I found there is a bug in ORK Framework where sometimes the target selection templates are not initialized properly when we update project or create a new project. So make sure to go through all of these templates, enemy single, group, none, all of them. And if you click save and you have something to save, that means that something was not initialized properly when the project was created. So now we can jump into the status, select abilities, and let's create a new brand ability. Click on the content information, edit, and let's add this one to attack. If you want to keep the same naming convention, we can call this one quick attack. Why not? Quick attack. And click OK. Now we have the name of the ability. I would like also to keep the same structure we did before, so we were changing the GUID to something more readable. So let's edit the GUID, and in this case I will change this one to quick attack ability. This is optional, it's my personal preference. So that was the content information section. In the ability settings, we have the ability type. Currently I believe we have only the passive, so let's select the passive, even though we are going to create in the future more ability types. And this we can leave as it is, nothing to change here, except of course for the ability type. We can skip the UI settings, nothing to change here, either in the level settings for now. We are trying to keep this simple for the time being. This is just the foundation for the attack states. So we are going to add the combo system later on, not today. So let's keep level settings as it is. Moving on to the next section is the use settings. So here we need to check the cancelable, because we want this ability or this attack to be cancelable for the user, from the user. The next section is the target selection settings. So here, instead of enemy single target selection type, let's select target selection enemy none. The next section is the user settings. In this case, the auto consume, we want to make it to always, or change to always. If we now scroll down, in the status change, we can create or add a new status change. So the status value we want to change from the user using this attack ability is going to be the stamina. And we want, in this case, to uncheck flying text and show console. We are not using those. And this operator will be subtract. And here we can hard code something like, I don't know, 35 points of stamina with a efficiency of 100, so always, all the time. The next block is the target settings. So here we can click on add target. In the is enemy, we can leave it as ignore. We can also check the cancel action, so an enemy attack can cancel our action. and down below we have the add status change, so click on that one. Once again, in case of the enemy, we want to change the HP. Let's not remove the show flying text and show console for the time being, and we want to subtract for the HP, and in this case let's use status value, so value current formula, now let's go back, combatant status value, and for the time being let's use the attack status from the player as a reference for the damage that we are going to apply. And the last section now is the battle animation. So this will be the responsible for calling our attack state like we did for the backstep state. So let's click on add battle animation. We need to create now our schematic asset to populate here. So let's do that now. Okay, so let's save our changes so far. And now we can go to the schematic section, and here let's start building our schematic. So the first thing I want to do is to play sound. So let's type play sound node. Let's link it up. And by the way, in the settings we don't need to change anything, that's why I just move up. And in the play sound we are going to select right away here in the select audio clip, a clip to play. In this case this is from the 3D action RPG tutorial, so let's move this swoosh 01. I want to play one shot. Let's keep the volume to half of the volume, or let's just leave it at 1, as you wish. Then I would like to change the set pitch and to a random pitch, just to have a different type of audio for each sound that is played here. And let's change the pitch to 1.8 and the pitch 2 to 1.2. So that will be for our play sound node. The next node that we want to add here is the activate damage dealer. So let's right click and select activate damage dealer. Let's link it up, link the nodes. And the damage dealer, if you remember, is in our weapon mesh that we created before. Here we can leave the machine object, this is fine. Then we need to activate, of course, so check activate, and we can use the use action tag, and this is going to be looking at the ability for the damage dealer tags settings, so we can leave that as it is. The next node will be our try set state that we created in previous video, so let's add a try set state, link the nodes again, and in the state name we want to put our new created class today, so attack state is suggested automatically by via reflection, which is nice. Then in the character object section, in the child object, remember we need to set to path, and in the find in child is the states game object. Careful with the typos in the states. So let me show you here, player. This is the root of the game object, and we want to search for the attack state in the states game object. Okay, so the last node will be again the active damage dealer, but in this case to deactivate the damage dealer after the animation is played. So let's add again activate damage dealer. There we go. And of course, in this case, we want to remove the activate. Let's save our schematic. Schematics. I will add a new folder, why not? So let's call this one Combat. And in here, let's call this to Quick Attack Schematic. And click on Save. Now that we have saved our schematic, we can go back to the status section, abilities, quick attack, and assign our schematic. So quick attack schematic, like so. And save again the settings. The last step here, of course, if you remember about the damage dealer, is to go down, and here in the damage dealer settings, add a tag. We need to click on add tag. The tag we need to put here, let's go back to our prefabs of the weapons. Short axe, let's select the short axe and let's open the prefab. Where is the damage dealer here? Ah, there we go, damage dealer. It's at the root, and let me check where we put the tag. Or okay, we didn't add any tags yet. So if we were to use here in the damage dealer settings add tag the weapon tag, then we need to make sure that in our damage dealer, in all the weapons that we going to use, we need to add activation tag and keep the same name. So let's type weapon here, and let's save the changes in the short axe and do the same for the long axe. So open prefab, damage dealer, add activation tag, weapon. There we go, and save the changes to the long axe as well. Okay, so lastly, if we wanted, we could also add a battle animation for the damage dealer. So this is handy, you know, if we wanted to play some other sound effects or particle effects and so on and so forth. But it is important that since we are now using the damage dealer, we use a schematic in order to calculate the damage that this weapon can do. So let's click on add battle animation, and let's create our schematic for this damage dealer. So let's save the changes so far. Let's go back to the schematic section and create a new schematic. The settings, again, we can leave it as it is. What we need to do right away is just is called the calculate action node. And after calculating the action, we could also play another sound. So let's do a play sound node, link them up. And in this case, instead of selecting audio clip, what we want to use is use sound type that we created before and select a type of damage. So if we have, for example, a set audio clip for the damage type, that will be used in that case. Similarly, what we can do is just to randomize the sound. We can use the set pitch. Remember to check here the play one shot as well. Let's leave the volume to 1 and random pitch. So the first pitch is going to be 0.8 and the second pitch is going to be 1.2. So let's save the schematic. We are here in the combat section, and let's call this guy damage dealer hit schematic. Click save, and let's go back to the status. In the quick attack, now we can assign our damage dealer hit schematic and save again the changes to the whole setup. Now we need to go to the combatant section and configure the combatants there. So let's click in the combatants section, and then let's go to the combatants subsection and click on the general settings, and here we need to add our damage clips, audio clips. So let's select or click the animations and movement and scroll down, and we have these sound settings. We are not assigning any sound template right now, so let's just click on add sound, and the sound type is going to be damage, and then we can assign several clips to these slots. So let's go into our sounds folder, sound effects, hits, and let's add the hits here, and let's copy, add another one, and click on copy, and add another one, and click on copy, and add the last one, like so. Save the settings before your computer crashes, and now we can click on our player combatant, make some room, and let's click in the status settings. So remember, we are using the attack status to determine the damage that the weapon will do. So we need to add an initial value here, and let's select our attack status, and let's hardcode something like 25. So after doing that, we need to click on the attacks and abilities. So remember, we are not going to use the attack ability, the quick attack ability, as an ability itself, but in this case, if you scroll down, we have this section override settings. So expand that section, and here we can set the base attack to be our ability itself. So let's click on own base attack. We can keep the action stop reset index, and then add the base attack, and the base attack ability is going to be, in this case, our quick attack. There we go. So save the settings once again, and we still have no enemy yet to combat with or attack, but I would like to go to the battles section here in the battle system and make sure that the default battle system is set to real time. Okay, and click on save the settings. Now we can close the ORK editor, and let's go back to our scene. Okay, so let's now do Ctrl P to enter play mode. Grab the Xbox controller. We start with the long axe. We can lock, and let's do the quick attack. There we go. Now if we were to unequip everything with our shortcuts, now we are using the on-arm attack. You can see it's another animation, and if I were to equip now the small axe, yet another animation. So I'm happy with the results so far. Of course, there is a small bug where I can click again in the attack and you can hear the sound, but the animation has not ended. So we should not be able to spam the attack button. And that's the reason I wanted to create this attack transition, to be more precise in the way we handle the attacks combos. So I hope you liked the video. As always, like and share, subscribe, and see you on the next one.